Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Quick programming note, doing something a little bit new with this podcast today, the Monday show. Usually at the end, we read and answer questions from the friendos on a thread on Twitter. We're still going to do that, but because the show usually runs pretty long on Mondays now because we review Smackdown and Rampage, and usually there's like some other show, like for example today we're going to briefly talk about Dominion. We're going to take those questions, we're going to answer them in a separate video over at Friendo Club TV, so yeah, it'll be like a QA, AMA, whatever you want to call it, over there at that channel, so be sure to check that out. This weekend, got kind of a busy slate. On Saturday, June 18th, we are going to be going to Action Coast Wrestling here in Sacramento. Local stars of professional wrestling will be in attendance, as will Steve Larson. And do we know, is Hilton going?
I don't know if Hilton's going. Mr. Dope, I think, is coming.
I think Mr. Dope is going. So meet the stars of Going In Raw. We're just going to be hanging out there watching the grapples. And then on the next day, on Sunday, we've got Impact's Slammiversary. Ooh, this is their big show of the year, I think. It's either this or the other.
Yeah. I mean, it's their 20th anniversary show. It's not only just Slammiversary, it's the 20th Slammiversary.
Do you like all the TNA logos they throw in the intro these days?
Yeah, I mean, they're paying respect to their past. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, they ditched the song "We Are the Night." The one they do now, is that like a retro? I don't know if you'd know this. Is it a song they used to use back in the day for TNA? Because it's a different theme song now.
You know, I'll be honest. When I get little introductory packages for wrestling shows with the theme and everything, for some reason I don't like to see the actual band perform said song.
Interesting.
I want to be immersed in the wrestling world.
Doesn't really bother me that much. I like when they used to do it on Raw whenever it was like, I don't know, Papa Roach.
They never really did it for me.
Yeah. Interesting.
When I watch wrestling, I want to be immersed into wrestling.
It's very 2002, 2003, though, isn't it?
Oh, it really is.
Yeah. So I see your point, but I like a bit of a throwback. Anyways, we're going to be watching that live over there, over here on the Twitch. So be sure to check that out. Let's dive into the news of the week because we got a lot to talk about today, including some unfortunate news. Just sort of dropping, I don't know, today and I guess coming from last night. So Jeff Hardy's been arrested. Wrestling Headlines is reporting that Jeff Hardy was arrested last night in Florida, stating, quote, Volusia County jail records show that Hardy was booked into the jail at 12:45 in the morning this morning at night. So on charges of driving while license canceled / suspended revoked, violation of restrictions placed on driver's license, and DUI alcohol / drugs, third offense within 10 years. The license charges are second-degree misdemeanors, but the DUI is a third-degree felony. Yeesh. That's not good. I mean, third degree is better than first degree. First degree is the worst, but third-degree felony is nothing to mess with.
No. It's a bummer. It's a bummer. Jeff has a history of substance abuse issues, and there's no excuse to get behind the wheel of a car if you're inebriated. Mm-hmm. You got taxis, you got Ubers, you got Lyfts. Get a ride home some other way. Get a ride back to the hotel some other way, you know?
Yeah.
And hopefully he can get the help he needs, get healthy, first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's noted here that he's obviously scheduled to compete in that big ladder match this week. Who knows if that'll still happen?
Yeah.
Sort of irrelevant at this point because, like you said, the guy he needs help.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a history of this. Hopefully, he can bounce back stronger and sober and all that stuff. But yeah. This is a sad situation. Who knows what actual legal ramifications might be the case here, but yeah, hopefully he gets his life in order because this isn't it's not healthy, man. I mean, it's certainly not healthy for him, but driving while intoxicated, people out on the road, man. There might be families out on the road, you never know, man.
I know.
It's 12, it's midnight, but still, whatever. Like people are out there driving around. You're gonna get somebody killed, man. Mm-hmm. So yeah, well, yeah, you got Ubers, Lyfts, man. There's like a million ways you don't have to, like, hell, even these. I know you're kind of the same way. If Lacey and I are about to go out downtown or whatever, we don't even take our car anymore.
Yeah,
we just take.
Or if I know I know I'm going to drive, then I just don't. I don't really drink.
Yeah.
You know.
So, anyways, hopefully he gets what he needs to get healthy. Let's talk about this. This is interesting. Pretty big WWE name, might not be with WWE much longer. Paige posted a statement on Twitter on Friday that July 7th will be her last day with WWE. She said this: July 7th will be the last day with WWE. I'm so thankful and I appreciate the opportunities that the company has given me. I'll always be appreciative of the company that took in an 18-year-old British pale emo girl that didn't look like your average diva, giving me the chance of a lifetime and making me feel like a superstar. I know after my neck injury taking me out of in-ring status, it was pretty hard to keep me around for as long as you did, and for that I'm thankful too. Thank you to the WWE Universe. You guys are the most passionate group of fans I've ever seen. Hopefully you continue to stay on this journey with me. I think the toughest part, weirdly enough, is having to let the Paige name go. But Saraya is a hell of a name. Kudos to my mom for that one. FYI, I'm not saying I'll never be in the ring. That day will most certainly come again, wherever the return may be. And then during a Twitch stream over the weekend, she added that WWE chose not to renew her contract. Larson, what did she say?
So, these transcripts are from Wrestling Observer. That's what she had to say. Quote, WWE doesn't want to re-sign me. It's not my decision. I don't want anyone to think it was my decision to walk away. Paige added, though, that despite that, she's still largely appreciative of her time at WWE. That's what she had to say. Quote, I'm appreciative of WWE. I really am. They helped me so much. They got me a therapist when I had drinking and alcohol issues. They kept me a long time, even after my neck surgery, sitting on my ass. I felt like I had so much left to give there as someone who could cut a decent promo and do a managerial role. It is what it is. They weren't using me to my full potential, that's for sure. It's fair. Why do they need to employ me to not do very much for them? There is opportunities I could have done. I think they just want to focus on people who are wrestling. And she also added that she feels healthy enough to compete again and would sign with another promotion, quote, if the money is right. It always seemed kind of odd that they have someone of like Paige, who's immensely talented both inside and outside the wrestling ring. She can cut a good promo. When she was GM, she did great character work. She was really good in that role.
Yeah.
She could be someone's manager.
Yeah.
Hell, she could have been Ronda Rousey's manager this whole time.
Yeah. Who clearly needs it is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
We will. So it is interesting that they have someone who's a really good talker, really good with the character stuff, who the crowd really likes, and didn't do anything.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Everybody loves Paige. I know there's gonna be comments now. I don't love Paige. Whatever. You're in a small group of people who don't like Paige. Everybody else loves Paige. She has got charisma. The camera loves her. She's good at improv. Like you said, she was good as a GM. She was good as a manager. She has everything. People tune in for her. People legitimately tune in for her. It was always bizarre to me that they wouldn't utilize her on screen on a regular basis.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. And hopefully somebody does. I'd love to see her show up in AEW as a manager. You know me, I'm a fuddy-duddy. I don't like seeing people in the ring unless they're like 1,000% cleared. Neck injuries are not something you want to mess with.
Obviously not.
I did like a little bit of when the Big E thing happened. I did a little bit of research on hers. From what I understand, it was more like not necessarily the actual, like, it wasn't like a bone issue. It was more of a muscle issue with her neck, which still you don't want to mess with, obviously. But you know, hopefully if she does sign somewhere, they're going to sort of triple check and quadruple check that
obviously,
she's good. And so yeah, if it gets to the point where her neck is good as gold, I'd love to see her back in the ring.
Absolutely. She was a really good wrestler.
Regardless of what role, I'd love to see her on my TV, man. I think she's fantastic. So, and it is weird that they just held on to her. I mean, I think from what like Meltzer or somebody reported, it was, you know, they understood that she had value, the name value, so they wouldn't let her go.
But also, they wouldn't like actually utilize her talent. It's so weird.
It's bizarre.
So weird.
Yeah.
You have someone that's really immensely talented under contract that seemingly is like, hey, let's do something. And then you don't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't
get it. You recognize the name value of this performer, yet you don't utilize that name value. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't get it. Let's talk about this. So Dave Meltzer reported over the weekend that Troy Two Dimes Donovan has been released by WWE due to, quote, a policy issue, and he was told that he may be brought back in a year. Donovan commented on the news, tweeting out, quote, thank you to everyone who's reached out. Mistakes happen and lessons are learned. A bump on the road doesn't define me, though. I'll be back. So, of course, we just saw Two Dimes join the D'Angelo family not that long ago, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And he was just signed in March of this year.
Oh, my God. He made it to TV in 3 months. That's nuts. Less than 3 months.
I guess he had wrestled some on the Independents.
Oh, interesting. Wow. What a bummer. Yeah. I mean,
no details on policy issue. Not going to speculate.
Oh, you might not. I got a whole list here. Let's see. Number 1. No.
Was that written on a balled up piece of paper that you then flattened out?
What is this? There's a couple things that I have here. Eddie, Kingston, Samoa Joe, Danielson, MJF. Oh, people who should be interim champion over Mox.
There you go.
And then on this side, some confidence points. So, yeah, maybe it is written on a balled up piece of paper that I flattened out. What's it to you?
I'm just curious. I just noticed it on here on my screen.
It's not like it's used toilet paper, man. Let's talk about this. This is great. Assuming that everybody's cleared to wrestle, Zack Sabre Jr. might be finally getting in that match we want to see with Bryan Danielson. If it's up to Zack Sabre Jr., the answer would be, yeah, man, we're going to do it. During his post-match comments following his bout at New Japan Dominion, Zack Sabre Jr. called out Danielson. These transcripts come to you versus cage side seats. American Dragon? Old Dragon Bollocks? Old Dragon Bollocks. Can you take some time out of your busy golfing schedule at the Blackpool Country Club to find out who the best technical wrestler in the world is? But I'll tell you now, darling, it's fucking me, dickhead.
Oh, he's so good.
I added the dickhead, but
he's so good.
I imagine he probably was thinking dickhead.
Entirely possible. He's so good at his character work. He's so good as a wrestler. Same with Danielson. Give these guys 25 minutes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And they will tear the house down.
Man. God.
Tear the house down. And
man.
And if they do this match right, there won't be like a single typical bump in the entire match. No flatbacks.
Yeah.
It'll just be all technical mat-based wrestling.
Gotch.
And it will be a classic.
Dickhead.
I hope it happens. I hope it's a one-on-one bout.
Let's get like a proper mic in the ring. Mic them both up somehow with some revolutionary mic technology. I just want to hear. Well, I don't know. They both wrestle without shirts on, man. I don't know what you can do.
Well, you get one of those parabolic mics.
Oh, good. It's like
aiming at the ring. It just picks up everything.
It's like that Gene Hackman movie. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, The Conversation. Yeah,
I know you know that movie well. Yeah,
what a brilliant film that is.
It's a great one. So, anyways, oh my God, yeah, the number of dickheads that are tossed out in that ring.
All right. And how many times Danielson's going to say, "I'm going to stomp his effing head in"?
Go ahead and stomp it in, dickhead.
Yeah, no. So much. There's potential for so much gold in that bout if and when it happens, and hopefully it does. You know, now that we're about 2 weeks away from Forbidden Door, this card is going to start taking shape. And I kind of thought, well, maybe after Dominion, it'll happen because they don't want to telegraph any finishes at Dominion, especially when it comes. We'll get to Dominion in a second, especially when it comes to the main event scene. But now that's happened. Oh, maybe they'll. I assume on Dynamite, things are going to start falling into place.
You got to think.
Well, who is Paige going to face? Is it going to be Jay White? Is going to be Okada? Then if Adam Cole is going to face Okada, so we can get into it now, I suppose. Let's get into Dominion now.
Yeah. Well, first up, let's pay a couple bills. What do you say about that? Let's do that.
Sure,
first.
Let's do that.
All right.
Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp Online Therapy. You know, Steve. Life can be overwhelming at times, and it's easy to feel burned out without realizing it. And while burnout is often associated with work, any of life's roles can lead to burnout.
That's absolutely true, Larson. So if you're feeling fatigued, irritable, or unmotivated, you could be dealing with burnout. And BetterHelp wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. Talking to someone can help you find out what's causing the stress in your life.
Yeah, I've been there before. I've felt that fatigue, that lack of motivation, that irritability that comes with burnout. And I've gone through the process of trying to find a therapist, so I know how difficult it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to.
It's also much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, First Person. You know what, Steve? You know, I think a lot of us wouldn't mind turning back the clock. For some, it might be for vanity. For others, to relive their glory days. But for me, I just wanted to wake up in the morning and feel rested and energized for the day like I did when I was younger. And now, thanks to First Person, I'm getting some of the best sleep I've had in years and waking up feeling focused and energized.
That's awesome, man. You know, after witnessing the deteriorating effects Alzheimer's had on their father and grandfather's cognitive health, brothers Chris and Joe were determined to take their brain health into their own hands. So they created First Person, which uses the brain-boosting medicinal benefits of mushrooms to activate the full potential of human cognition and brain health.
You know, I've struggled with getting good sleep for years, but ever since I've been taking First Person's Moonlight supplement, I've gotten some amazing sleep. I've also taken their Sunbeam supplement, which has helped with my focus. With First Person, I finally feel like I'm unlocking Larson's full potential.
Yeah, man. First Person supplements are made with functional mushrooms that look to stimulate the body's natural production of specific neurotransmitters that trigger activities like energy, mood, and as you just mentioned, sleep.
So start improving your brain health and cognition with First Person. Get 15% off your first order by going to getfirstperson.com and use code RAW. That's GETFIRSTPERSON.com, code RAW for 15% off your first order. Getfirstperson.com, code RAW.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All right. Let's get into Dominion, Steve.
All right, man. I watched two matches. I watched 2 matches of it.
I watched the whole thing.
Nice.
It wasn't a bad show.
Yeah.
I mean, I main event I thought was really good. Jay White is a spectacular heel and one of the best shit talkers in all of wrestling.
Yeah, he's great.
It was the story they were telling was a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed the main event quite a bit. I gotta tell you, I've turned the corner on House of Torture. I had heard. I wonder if that awful Wrestling Kingdom match between Ishii and Evil was like a wake-up call for them.
I'm sorry. What?
Let me finish my point.
You've turned on House of... That's gimmick infringement. It's my thing to hate something and then all of a sudden love it.
No, it's not.
That's
not
my
gimmick.
thing.
If something improves, am I still not allowed to like it? Anyway.
Correct.
So, wrong. I'm my old man.
That's all I do. And then you're always like, I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah, so?
Hey, ticket.
I had heard for a while that House of Torture had essentially turned into like comedy wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it's 1,000% true.
That's great.
There's this great, so like early on, like I'll save it till we get to the match, but there's a couple spots that were hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I really enjoyed the Taichi Shingo Takagi match.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought it was 10 minutes as many pinfalls as you could get.
Yeah.
No, it's how many like
actual
counts you can get. And it's a creative approach to a match. And down towards the end, it was actually pretty thrilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought it was actually really creative and clever.
Yeah.
That being said, there were some somewhat surprising finishes. I was to an extent kind of surprised about Carl Anderson winning the Never Openweight title. A little surprised about Jay White beating Okada, but they're really invested.
Yeah, let's
revitalizing Bullet Club.
Let's talk big picture what you took away from this, and we'll run through the results in a second here. But let's take big picture. Obviously, Bullet Club, Jay White beating Okada. I was surprised at that too, just because. I mean, I shouldn't be because they have been taking their time building Bullet Club. up. And with the exception of it seems like they're sort of focusing on two main factions: United Empire, who won the U.S. title with Will Ospreay. Juice Robinson was out because he had to vacate it
and then injury. Cobb and Great O'Khan got the tag titles back. So pretty much between United Empire and Bullet Club, they have all of the championships, I believe, except the junior heavyweight titles, which 6 or 9 still have.
Okay,
but then they lost in the opening tag match to United Empire, so you could see Akira and TJP challenge them for the titles. And then I think, if memory serves, unless I'm missing something, either United Empire or Bullet Club will have
everything. Yeah. So it definitely seems like those are the two big. It's the thing that kind of has put me off New Japan lately, in terms of like really number one. There's been so many other things like I know we do get some flack sometimes from some friendo saying, hey, you guys don't, with like even in the comments of that little goofy short film we did, they're like, oh, you're not covering Dominion, you're just using this as an excuse not to cover Dominion or whatever. And it's like, honestly, like it's a time crunch.
First of all, that was a shoot. We were actually, if I had made that shot, we would have done predictions for Dominion.
Yeah. We probably should have explained that in the comments or something. So we would have been forced into it, but it's not like I would have done a modicum of research on New Japan. But like, I don't know. There are certain things that I think they maybe could have done to keep me really invested in their product, and that's sort of elevating guys like Zack Sabre Jr., who they always sort of tease as coming up there, but then it ends up being, and I love Jay White, don't get me wrong, I love Jay White, especially New Japan Jay White. I really hope he stays in New Japan for a long time, because whenever I see him anywhere else, it just doesn't translate the same way. The rapport he has with the crowd in Japan is really something else. It really feeds into what he does. And so, but yeah, I mean, obviously they've been building up Bullet Club for this moment, and the United Empire as well. And I mean, what do those two factions have in common? There's a lot of foreigners involved, and with their expansion via Strong, which utilizes a lot of those guys. Obviously, they have a presence in Impact, especially now with ASOS, and obviously the Good Brothers are already there. I wonder if that is perhaps a reason why they're going all in on these two factions, which are primarily, from foreign wrestlers.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be. We also got an announcement regarding the G1 Climax 32. 4 blocks this year.
Yeah.
A field of 28. So our picks for the G1 are going to be pretty extensive. I got to create a giant spreadsheet for all that.
I think the G1, is that because you said that there's like no big shows in August except for an Impact show?
Yeah. Like, and the WWE hasn't announced a pay-per-view yet. AEW, same there. And with 2 WWE pay-per-views in July, I doubt they're going to have one in August. They'll probably wait till October to have the next one. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of pay-per-views.
So because of that, August, for predictions, I think we're just going to go heavy on G1, and then we'll do the Impact thing. I don't know if it's up to me. I'd probably just say let's just do G1 for what counts as the August.
If you win the title between now and then, you can make that decision.
I don't think we ever established that though.
I think precedent was set the first one where you did the video and at the end just tacked on the bit about what shows we were going to cover.
Yeah, but that was just because I don't want to text you. I'm sure you weren't going to disagree with me, so I was like, okay. But no, I think it'd be fun to do just the G1.
Yeah, we'll see. Whoever's champion can make that decision.
I think that's actually a thing. So okay.
Then of course, some stuff was settled with this show heading into Forbidden Door, namely Jay White beat Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Paige had called out Okada just this past week on Dynamite. After winning the belt, Jay White drops a promo. And he says to Hangman, "You want Okada? Well, you can have him now because you ain't getting the IWGP Heavyweight title, you big, dumb cowboy bitch."
Wow. Eesh.
I know.
Eesh.
And then Jay White's post-match promo was great. So he says, the whole match he was getting on the crowd there in Osaka about cheering. They're not allowed to cheer. They can clap.
Right. Yeah.
But they can't start chants, audibly, vocally cheer. And so the whole match, and he did a really good job of working that into the story of the match, which I'll get into later. But anyways, he drops a really good promo and says, my last match as a young lion, was in this building 6 years ago, and at that time, I called you my family. So say something. And he says, now 6 years later, I'm here, number one asset in wrestling. Sold out Madison Square Garden, United Center, the only real Grand Slam champion. He's calling that Tanahashi, who's doing commentary ringside. And it says, still my era. But as far as you think at this point, we're going to get Paige versus Jay White.
Yeah.
Because Paige is trying to fill that void of losing the AEW championship by trying to win the IWGP one.
Yeah.
And I guess that would mean if Cole, assuming he's healthy, will get the Okada match.
Well, it also maybe motivates some, I don't know. I mean, because look, Hangman could easily just eat a loss to Jay White. I think that's probably, you know, but that being said, you could have some Cole shenanigans. He keeps on referring to Jay White as like his best friend and stuff. So you could have some shenanigans there at Forbidden Door with Bullet Club. I mean, it's Bullet Club. Of course, they can do shenanigans. So yeah, and then if Cole's healthy enough, yeah, he can get the Okada match. I mean, is that? So then Mox will have. Mox is going to have so Mox will win. I'm thinking of like the politics of it, which is always more interesting.
Because it's going to be like 50-50.
Mox is going to beat Tanahashi for the interim title.
And then Jay White would beat Paige for the IWGP title.
Okada will beat Cole.
You'd think so, yeah.
You'd think that'd be the case. And then I guess the other prominent match, I mean, that's a fatal four-way, the All-Atlantic title match. And there's one New Japan person
they put out the qualifying for that. Ishii's going to be in the New Japan representative out of those matches.
Okay, yeah.
There's 4 matches happening on the 20th and 21st. I don't remember who the participants, but it seems pretty obvious that Ishii's going to be.
Okay. It's like Ishii,
the New Japan
like
representative.
Master Wato or something like that.
I know it's Ishii. There's Hanma.
Okay.
There's Clark Connors, and there's somebody else. I forgot the fourth name. I'm sorry. It's pretty obvious.
So not even Master Wato territory.
It's pretty obvious it's going to be Ishii.
It's like Jack Cartwheel.
Kanemaru, thank you, Nikailos Kanemaru.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, that's
who was
Ishii.
great. Who was great in this Suzuki-gun House of Torture match. We can just get into this real quick. Opening bout: United Empire versus 6 or 9. Master Wato, Taguchi, Tenzan. Hinari hits a spear on Tenzan, follows that up with a full Nelson. Tenzan has to tap. United Empire gets the win. After that, we had LIJ. I believe it was Naito, Takahashi, and Bushi against Bullet Club. It was Taiji Ishimori, LP, and Ace Austin. LP pins Bushi after CR2. We get Doc Gallows versus Yano. Yano, in typical Yano fashion, low blow, roll up, gets the win. And he runs up the ramp to escape the wrath of Doc Gallows. This next match, tons of fun. You had Zack Sabre Jr., El Desperado, and Kanemaru taking on House of Torture. So Kanemaru has been using the figure 4 as his finish of late. And there's this great sequence where he just, like, in succession, he'll put the figure 4 on one member of House of Torture. Another member of House of Torture will come and try to stomp on his chest to break it up. He'll catch that kick, put them in the figure 4. He does it to all 3 people in the match, plus Dick Togo.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. Just bang, 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 bang. Later on, Evil puts Kanemaru in a abdominal stretch. This is the match I took the most notes for. And so it's near the rope. So Evil goes and grabs out the Dick Togo, grabs his hand. So then Dick Togo goes and grabs Yujiro Takahashi's hand. And then Takahashi grabs the guardrail just for all the extra leverage on the abdominal stretch. It was great.
It
was great. So then towards the finish, Sho slips his wrench. That's like his weapon of choice in his kick pad. And then Dick Togo gets on the apron, drinks some whiskey. Kanemaru knocks him off the apron. He spits whiskey everywhere. And then Sho hits a couple kicks with the loaded boot on Kanemaru and follows that with his finisher to get the win. It was a wildly entertaining match.
That sounds like I'll definitely check that one out.
It was a lot of fun. It didn't overstay its welcome. It wasn't like frustrating levels of interference. It was creative and fun levels of interference.
Yeah.
Then we got Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan taking on Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens. Cobb and Great O'Khan get the win here, pin and Chase. Great O'Khan hits a belly off the top. Cobb falls with Tour of the Islands for the win. Afterwards, Rocky Romero runs out to attack Cobb and Great O'Khan. So maybe we're getting Roppongi Vice versus Cobb and O'Khan at Forbidden Door.
Roppongi Vice.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
Then we had our intermission, during which they announced the field, or the number of participants, actually, and the field of the G1. Then we got Hiroki Goto versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. It's a fun enough match. Tanahashi gets the win. High fly flow. Then we got Taichi versus Shingo Takagi. So the rules of this, I kind of alluded to it earlier, a little different. So if you cover somebody and you get a 2 count, you get 2 points. You cover somebody and you get a 1 count, you get 1 point. If you get a 3 count, and actually you can just lay on top of somebody and keep racking up points. Because one time Shingo got a 3 count on Taichi and he just stayed there. So if you can lay on somebody for a count of 10, you get 10 points.
Yeah.
I had never seen a match like this. They actually did a really fun this 10-minute limit and just try to rack up as many cover points that you can get. Was actually wildly entertaining.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
It was quite enjoyable. Shingo wins 11 to 10. He got like a huge lead, and so Taichi had to like scramble to bridge the gap and just couldn't do it in time. Then we got Carl Anderson taking on Tama Tonga for the Never title. Carl Anderson's like, hey, something's wrong with my mouth. Ref comes to check on him. Gallows gets in the ring. Tama hits him with a gun stun. Turns around. Carl Anderson hits Tama Tonga with the gun stun to get the win.
Okay. All right.
Then we got Ospreay versus Sonata. Ospreay gets the win here. Hidden Blade, Stormbreaker, new U.S. champ. And then the main event I thought was really great because Jay White was getting on Okada. He was getting on the crowd and Okada, and he was blaming Okada for the crowd being quiet. Essentially, He said to him, "Look what you've done to this place. Silence with you as champion. Just absolutely silent. I mean, they can't cheer.
Yeah,
you know,
not allowed to. Yeah."
And yet he was blaming that at Okada.
Yeah. I like the chair. I like the chair part. It was goofy as hell when
it was.
Gato throws the chair in there, and him and Jay White sort of he's like on the ground, and him and Gato are like face to face, and he's like, "Use the chair, go motherfuck him."
Yeah,
and he said, "Oh, the chair, the chair," and they turn around, and Okada has his foot on the chair,
I know,
and they're
so
like,
good.
"Oh."
It's so good. The finishing sequence was really good too. Culminates in Jay hitting the Blade Runner to get the win.
Yeah, that was a really good finishing sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun main event. Really fun main event.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's talk about this, man. We got ourselves a new Intercontinental Champion, Gunther.
Yep.
Thanks to SmackDown. Not only that, we've got a Roman Reigns match. Instead of happening at Money in the Bank, Riddle, man, this whole match was going down. I was just desperate for Sami Zayn to win this. But I think I just want Sami Zayn to be Bloodline. And I get the feeling that he's probably going to end up screwing Riddle out of his title or out of the Universal title next week on SmackDown. And maybe, just maybe, Roman will give him a nod to join the Bloodline. And Sami, just at least for a moment, can be part of the ones, Larson.
I'm skeptical it's ever going to happen.
I know. I'm really just hoping it does. That'd be so nice.
It would be pretty entertaining. Let's talk about Roman defending the title next week as opposed to Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in terms of making SmackDown a must-watch experience, great idea. And then if they really think that the ladder matches are enough to sell the pay-per-view, which there's merit to that argument, then you can kind of say, okay, well, we'll do good number. Yes, Steve.
The whole point of Money in the Bank is you have that air of tension once you've won Money in the Bank that you could potentially cash in on the champion. And even if he's not there, yes, Larson.
I mean, yes, Roman's not there, but Ronda's got a match on the card.
Yeah, no, I know.
Bianca's got a match on the card. A cash-in could potentially still happen during the show itself.
Yeah, just not on like the main event title, like the Roman Reigns title. Yeah, I don't know. I get the idea. I think you're right. Their philosophy of the ladder match sells itself. But you think back to, like Dean Ambrose cashing in that night that every member of the Shield had the WWE title. That stuff is cool. And yeah, you can have it. You can have it the next week on SmackDown or whatever, I guess. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they think if if something really silly, like they're able to clear Cody a week after surgery, not a week, but still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like 2 weeks after. Well, I mean, he wouldn't be cleared. They might clear him enough to say, hey, you can grab the briefcase.
The level of clearance needed to go and obtain a briefcase while everybody else is laid out. Yeah. Maybe that's enough of a moment. And story-wise, it would make zero sense for him to cash in on Roman that night anyways, because he would just have that, he'd still be whatever. So if they can make the event exciting enough, then yeah, great. That's totally fine. Pop a rating on SmackDown. Make SmackDown feel more important. It should. Weekly TV should feel more important. So I'm not going to complain about that.
Let's talk about this real quick. And that's the opening bout, so I guess we can kind of get into it. So the show opened with Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus in the Money in the Bank qualifier. So if Cody's not in it, I would assume that Drew would be consensus favorite to win because he could win it, cash in, say I'm going to have my title match at Clash of the Castle, because that match is going to happen. It's going to be Drew versus Roman at Clash of the Castle. And if they want to motivate it quickly and easily, they just have win Money in the Bank. However, this match ended in a double DQ because they were brawling outside the ring, got a couple chairs and smashed each other with them.
Yeah.
Match was thrown out and they continued brawling. So, and then later on, both Drew and Sheamus went to Adam Pearce and said, no, you got to put me in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Mm-hmm. So let's assume for a second this qualifying match and any other subsequent qualifying matches between these two end in similar fashion.
Okay.
So neither Drew nor Sheamus is in Money in the Bank, and so there's an empty spot. That could be the avenue for Cody.
Mm-hmm, that's true. Yeah, that could be.
Like there's usually 6 people in the match.
Yeah.
They just say, oh, well, we'll just have 5 because no one else qualified. Cody can run out towards the end. I'm number 6, get the briefcase done.
Yeah, that could be. That could be the case. They could do that with somebody else. And because, look, it's going to be, I don't know. I think there's only 3 people that can win this. It's Orton, Drew, and Cody. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's going to be one of those 3 people. I mean, maybe is there a way that Seth could win it, carry it, and then Cody can get it back from him to make it 4-0? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, look,
possible.
Ideally, like it. I hate bringing this up because I've mentioned this on the show before. All of this writes itself for Cody to do this. The only thing that is sort of the unknown is this soon after surgery. Is it even plausible for them, or is it even possible, rather, for them to say, yeah, you're cleared enough to go out there, get in the ring, and get a briefcase? Like, for example, if he was pregnant, then there's no amount of clearance for him to get, like even on the stage, I think. I don't think they let anybody do anything if you're pregnant.
No. I mean, it would be him coming out probably in a sling.
Right. Yeah.
Probably in a suit.
Which would they think do they think is that too goofy? For like, does that even sort of jump the shark for WWE logic? I don't think it does. I think they should do it.
I mean, if it's a situation where say Seth is climbing, he's got the briefcase trying to get it off the little apparatus at the top, and right as he unhooks it, Cody comes out and like sweeps his legs out.
Right, yeah.
Briefcase falls and he picks it up.
That doesn't seem like that seems normal. That seems fine.
It seems better than him actually, say, keeping Seth off there and actually climbing up himself with one arm and getting it off.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think there's a way you can do it where it comes off as everybody's going crazy for this shit.
Yeah.
I think absolutely. And on top of that, Seth just smashed his head in with a sledgehammer. Of course you do this. Cody was literally in a commercial saying you get a WrestleMania moment if you get that Money in the Bank. He should be the one who gets it. And then he's got his moment at WrestleMania. It's all there. It's there.
Yeah. It's there. We'll see if they'll do it. Speaking of Cody, we had a Seth and Cody video package next, and they said afterwards that Cody will be out of action for 9 months.
Shit. Except with the exception of Money. That's what they call it.
It'll still be in time for
that's a swerve right there, man. Yeah. So yeah. We're just in the recap now? Is that what's happening?
Sure, yeah, let's dive right into it. Anything else comes up, then we can talk about that.
Cool. After that, we had a Lacey Evans interview. So, yeah, I mean, the beginning thing was a Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. They'd end up getting counted out because they're beating the shit out of each other too much. Yeah. And then, let's see here. Butch got a Claymore. He ate a Claymore for Sheamus. Ref threw the match out because they just started swinging chairs at each other. That's what happened. They're in the timekeepers area. Drew hits a spine buster on Sheamus on the announce table. SmackDown rolls on. We come back. They're still brawling ringside. I actually like this, to be honest with you, because Drew is desperate to get this thing so they can go to Clash at the Castle. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like this being his story. Like, he doesn't get an easy in. Sheamus has his number. Sheamus and him have always had great chemistry. Mm-hmm. They got that history. So I kind of expect Drew to end up being in Money in the Bank. Probably. And if they want to go the boring route, they just have him win this thing. And then he cashes in for a Clash of the Castle. But who knows? So yeah, they end up brawling into the crowd. Sheamus flees up into the crowd. Then we get that Seth Cody video package with the announcement that Cole saying that Cody's going to be back in 9 months. We had a Lacey Evans interview before her match with Xia Li, saying the Money in the Bank. So she's a face, is what I gathered from this this whole thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
This week, she's a face. She says the Money in the Bank contract changes lives. If she wins the Money in the Bank, she gets to challenge any champ anytime. It's her opportunity. We all have choices in our lives. She says we can sit and wallow in our self-pity, sad at the challenges life throws at her. Is she referring to her baby? Because that's why she was gone for a while. I'm joking. She's a pity party now. She says, or we can wake up, work, and win. I might not be better than Xia Li, but and then we had that match, and sadly, Xia Li won. Lacey was watching this, and she's like, man, that gear is really cool. I'm like, who, Lacey Evans? She was like, no, Xia Li. Yeah. She was like, she's probably not going to win this, is she? I'm like, no.
This wasn't even competitive, really.
I know.
So Xia Li got a promo beforehand. She says Lacey Evans is not a winner. She's a whiner. Oof. And I will make her cry tears of shame when I go out and become Miss Money in the Bank. And then like 3 minutes later, Lacey wins with the women's right.
You got that right. After that, we had Adam Pearce on the phone. I thought it was going to be Dupree, but it wasn't. He's in Europe traveling right now. Mm-hmm. He'll be back on SmackDown to actually debut his Maximum Male Model #1 this Friday, apparently. Now, Drew walks into his office. Lacey perked up. He says he wants to be in Money in the Bank. Ladder match, put me in. Pierce says, no, I have to process all this before I can make that decision. And he says, okay, fine, process it. Put me in the match.
Yeah. Then we got a Viking Raiders promo. They're coming to SmackDown now. Yes, Steve?
They're already a SmackDown act. They are. Everybody on Twitter was talking about that shit. They're on SmackDown. They went to NXT for 2 weeks. I think this is just a way to say, hey, everybody get excited. The Viking Raiders are coming to SmackDown, even though they're already here. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very confusing, to be honest.
Very confusing. I mean, it confused me.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember because they haven't been on TV outside of NXT in a little while, it feels like.
Yeah, no, I know.
Didn't they challenge the Usos for the tag titles recently?
Fucking, I don't know, man.
Anyway, so then we have
Sheamus
and Butch.
We already spent too much time thinking about
really
the Viking Raiders.
So Sheamus and Butch, they barge into Adam Pearce's office, and now it's Sheamus saying, it's only fair that I get in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Pierce says, I'll tell you the same thing I told Drew, is a lot of process. And the Sheamus says, I don't want process, I want results. Mm-hmm. Then we got Ronda Rousey promo.
Oh, this is great. So she says, Money in the Bank's 3 weeks away. Can't wait to prove to Natty that my iron bar is better than a sharpshooter he stole from her Uncle Brett.
Why are they using the same story they had with Charlotte with this? My finisher is better than your finisher.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just, Ronda's fine when she's doing anything but talking. But as soon as you put her on that mic, man, I just want to tape. I want to sleep so bad. It's terrible. This is a good match, though.
It was. She was interrupted by Shotzi pretty quickly, so she
it wasn't
talk
that long.
Too much.
Yeah.
And so she tells Ronda to shut up. Says, I might not have the experience of Natalia or a fancy submission move, but what I do have is serious aggression and the killer instinct. So if Ronda's a champion that she says she is, why would you wait till Money in the Bank for a fight? Seems to me the baddest one on the planet would have no problem fighting me right here, right now. And then Ronda says, all right, we can have a match now.
All right, we can have a match right now.
Yeah, the match happened. They gave it plenty of time, and it was solid.
This is cool stuff. I like this match. I like that bit where Shotzi goes for a kick on Ronda. Ronda grabs her leg. She has her dead to rights. Shotzi just slaps her and makes it worse.
I know.
That was good stuff.
That was good. Ronda gets the win. It was Piper's Pit, armbar, Shotzi taps, and then Natalya comes out and attacks Ronda from behind, locks on to sharpshooter. And they were saying later on, Like they had Kayla outside the trainer's room and saying that Ronda has suffered like a really serious injury. Will she even be able to compete at Money in the Bank?
Wow.
Because of a sharpshooter.
That sharpshooter's pretty rough, man. Put
Guess
it on
so.
right. You put it on right. Get some stank on that sharpshooter.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we had a Matt Riddle interview. He talks about thriving under pressure. What motivates him is thinking about what Bloodline did to Orton. God, if I'm Orton, dude, if you keep on talking about me like this, I would just get uncomfortable. I'd be like, dude, stop using my name, man. You go do you, Larson. You go do you. Mm-hmm. Stop talking about me, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I honestly, like, at this point, he's so, like, his motivation just trying to have in the name of his best friend. It's so off-putting. I just want to get it. I want him to get his ass kicked. He kind of has that kind of heat with me, especially because, like, in this match coming up later, it was against Sami Zayn, and I desperately want Sami to be in the Bloodline. I feel for Sami Zayn.
I don't think that's going to happen, Steve. I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, he says, when I beat Sami, I'll get my vengeance on Roman. We had the bit with Kayla giving the medical update on Ronda, and then we had the Intercontinental title match. Walter.
Oh, this was great.
Versus Ricochet.
This was amazing. Did you see Ricochet's utter lose entrance? This dude came out. He was looking longingly at the title, looking at the fan. There was this poor dude, like when they got in the ring on the hard cam, he was just cheering. He was standing up and doing everything for poor Ricochet. And then by the end of the match, you could see this dude in the crowd. He was devastated.
Yep.
Ricochet's number one fan there to see Ricochet get annihilated.
Yeah,
by
he got
Gunther.
wrecked.
Oh, man. He got, in my opinion, he got too much of his shit in. Ricochet should not have gotten as much shit in as he did.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, please.
Assuming wrestlers watch film to scout their opponents.
Yeah.
Why would you ever chop Walter? Anytime anybody ever chops Walter, it just pisses him off and he obliterates them with a chop. Don't chop him.
Ricochet.
I'm not saying you're going to win.
Yeah.
But if you're Walter's hard enough to beat, just as is, why would you want to upset him?
You know, Ricochet being booked like a dullard. It's like that time when he tried to, he said, I didn't come here to talk. And Drew said, then shut up. And then you see Ricochet's soul leave his body. It never came back. It never came back. Yeah, that bit. I love that shit where Gunther will put a guy up on the top and then he'll just stand on their neck. he stood on his jaw.
Yeah, he does.
He was
that.
upside down. I love that so much.
He'll put him on top, chop him
and
first.
Then
do that.
Yeah,
yes.
And then
everything's set up by the chop.
He just drapes them and stands on their jaw.
Everything about Walter looks like he's actually hurting people.
I know, it's great.
Everything. He's legit.
Awesome.
Even that power bomb. That's how he wins. Power bomb, full body pin gets the win.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and dude, he looks so good with that. Like that title looks better on him. Like the title just because it looks like it kind of vaguely looks like the old Progress title. It has kind of like a European flair to it. Oh, I love it. It looks so good on him.
Yeah, he should have that belt for, I don't know, whenever he
Forever.
decides. Like, he should make the decision whether to drop it or not.
Right, exactly, yeah.
No one else should decide that for him.
I agree, absolutely.
So if he wants to have that in perpetuity, so be it.
Who am I to say he needs to take that?
I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him to drop the title.
Certainly not going to chop him. He'll stand on my jaw.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, it was great. So afterwards, we get Sami Zayn warming up at the gorilla position. Paul Heyman comes up to him and he says, this is the greatest opportunity of your career. If you beat Riddle tonight, you give me the ammunition to tell Roman that you belong in the bloodline. You're the one. But if you lose to Riddle tonight, and then Heyman just shakes his head, and Sami is shook. He is shook from that moment. He starts walking out to the stage and he keeps on looking behind him like, what the fuck was that?
I know. I love when Heyman did that. He just says, if you lose.
Oh my God, terrifying. And even when they cut to the stage and he comes out for his entrance, he still sort of looks behind him like, what is happening right now?
I know.
Oh,
a lot of pressure.
Damn, this is good.
A lot of pressure.
Really good match, but I was just heartbroken towards the end. I mean, I knew this was going to happen, but I was heartbroken. I need to see Sami needs to be the one.
The finish was great.
Yeah,
Sami going for a haluva kick, running right into an RKO. That was awesome.
I know, it was good. It was so good. But damn it. So anyways, the Usos attack Riddle from behind after that. They throw him out of the ring, pose to the crowd. Riddle gets back in with a kendo stick, starts beating the shit out of the
Oh,
Usos.
he breaks that kendo stick.
Yeah, it was shards everywhere, that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, sad last days of Bloodline Hunter, though. I'm hoping Sammy costs him that match. I know you're doubtful about all that, but I just want to see the Usos hug him, embrace him, and then he looks at Roman. Roman just gives him a little nod. Just here. And then he gets in line behind them. Oh, man, that's all I want. That's all I want, man.
You just want Sammy in the group so he can be just completely and utterly manipulated by Roman.
Whatever. I don't care. Everybody gets manipulated by Roman. It's okay. It's what Sammy desperately wants. It's what he needs.
And he just wants Sammy to be happy. Okay.
I do. Absolutely. That'd be amazing.
Or they don't have him join. They beat the heck out of him. We get face Sami Zayn.
No. Nope.
No,
he needs to be in the bloodline for at least a couple weeks. Then they can jump him out. Because he's going to fuck it up.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to fuck it up, but I want him in there for a second.
Oh, yes. Rampage Friday night as well. I remember it being pretty solid.
Was it? Oh, what was kind of the standout here for me? He wasn't in it very long.
Statlander. That was a great match.
Yeah, that was a good match. I was going to say Satnam Singh. He actually looked like he had some mobility. Usually dudes that big, they just sort of lumber about. I'm like, oh, look at this guy. He's got some speed. He's got some quickness. He's not just sort of walking fast.
That crossbody, he did look really good.
The crossbody looked like, yeah, that's right. No, he looked good.
Yeah.
I don't know how far he's going to go.
Yeah, who knows? Show opened up like mid-match almost. Eddie Kingston versus Jake Hager. Mm-hmm. Kingston getting the win clean.
Oh, yeah.
Over Jake Hager.
Well, it's Hager, man.
I know.
Kingston looks like most of his MMA opponents, though. They always bring out
Unfortunately for Hager, this is a pro wrestling bout, not MMA.
That's a good point.
So advantage Eddie, I suppose. He has to powerbomb, pair of back fists to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we had a Britt Baker interview. She was talking about the Owen championship she has, but she said, I can't help be distracted by someone who put their fingers on a belt that doesn't belong to them. She's talking about Toni Storm. So it's pretty arrogant of Toni to put her hands on the AEW women's title. But arrogance is the camouflage of insecurity, and I know for a fact that Toni doesn't want to step in the ring with me or Jamie Hayter. So Toni thought she could skip the line and go straight to the top. Not how things go around here. She says, as much as I'm missing the AEW women's title, the title is missing me even more. And if anyone is winning that title next, it's going to be someone on Team DMD.
I liked her giving Toni some shit here. She was like, I'm talking about Toni. Is it Toni Storm? Yes, Toni Storm. Duh.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Then we had a Ortiz video package hyping up his hair versus hair match against Jericho, talking about how important Jericho's hair is to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Who would look better bald? Ortiz or Jericho? I don't know what Jericho would look like bald.
I just feel like it'd be more of a shock to see Jericho with no hair.
That's for sure.
It'd be more shocking.
Totally true, yeah.
Then we had Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh taking on Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett. This one is about as expected for Davey and Matt. They got destroyed. That double crossbody from Singh was great. Jay Lethal falls with a double lethal injection, get the win. And afterwards, Satnam Singh hits Matt Fitchett with like a spinning razor's edge.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
You're coming down from a long, yes. A lot of height there.
They said he's 7'4"?
Yeah, dude, he's a big dude.
So that's over 8 feet with Singh's arms extended like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After that, we had a Hookhausen interview. This is kind of goofy. Lexi said, I don't know where so she's outside. It's like, I don't know where they are. And then Danhausen rolls in on like a field cart. And he says, yes, we feel great after winning the pay-per-view. We bought new cars. And then she's like, where's Hook? And he's like, oh, you want to see Hook's car? And so he drives off, and then Hook rolls up in a much bigger like golf cart thing.
Yeah, like camo panels and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Then we had Red Velvet versus Chris Statlander. This match was awesome.
Yeah, this was a really, really good match, yeah. Apparently, did Red Velvet get hurt in this? Because I thought I read something that she was like, she got carted off after this.
Oh, yeesh. Hope not. So Statlander gets the win with Friday Night Fever. and the sequence to get there was fantastic. And afterwards, Kiera Hogan attacks Statlander, sends her to the floor. Jade drops Statlander with a pump kick, and Jay comes out to make the save. She gets attacked by Kiera in Red Velvet, and then Athena runs out to ringside, but then she's held back by wrestling producers.
Yeah.
Then we got a Miro video package, just kind of using much of the last promo he did with some B-roll. We got an Ethan Page interview to respond to Miro. He says Miro thinks he's God's favorite champion. He's going to return at the end of this tournament. He says, you know what Ethan Page, look up to? Myself. Mm-hmm. Who do I pray to? Myself. He says, I'm going to advance in this tournament and finally win some gold in this company. And next week, Miro, you're going to pray to me.
Bad move, Ethan Page.
Yeah, you're going to get annihilated by
don't be bringing God and praying into this stuff. You're going to get your ass handed to you. After that, we had the United Empire and FTR. What? You made a face.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. We had United Empire and FTR and Trent interview. And Ospreay just said, don't be afraid of who walks through the forbidden door. It's like, we're the United Empire. It's these guys over here, Hanare and the other two guys. And we're going to separate the sheep from the goats. And then Trent says, you know, man, I never liked you when you started 7 years ago, and I like you less now. All your boys are nerd asses. It was just terrible. What is that shit? Nerd asses.
Yeah, you're not a fan of that.
FTR, they get their words in too. And then we have the match, United Empire versus Trent and FTR. It was a good match.
It was a solid bout, yeah. Trent getting the pin on, his name Kyle Fletcher with a strong 0.
Nerd ass.
I guess Trent got the win, so he wasn't exactly proven wrong.
Okay, so it was Fightful Select when I mentioned that earlier off the cuff. Thank you, Maggie, for this. Fightful Select said Velvet may have potentially been banged up following the match as she was carted around after the show. So not carted out, but carted around after the show, whatever that means.
Okay. Hopefully she's all right.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised to see Ospreay lose his AEW debut, but maybe that just means if he has a match at Forbidden Door, maybe he'll win. I don't know.
Yeah.
He has a singles match. Maybe he'll defend that U.S. title against somebody.
Yeah, I wonder who that would be. Yeah, I don't know.
Sammy Guevara, maybe?
Sammy Guevara. That'd be a good match.
It would be
a good match, though. You know, that match would be Larson. Entertaining. We got a Raw preview for some sports entertainment tonight.
Hopefully this is entertaining.
The Judgment Day. Sorry, the new Judgment Day.
They need a new name.
Well, they're returning to Raw with a new direction.
Is that their new name?
Yeah. Our new name is the New Direction. We're going in a singular direction. Call us One Direction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude.
Then Seth freaking Rollins answers for his attack on Cody Rhodes. That's all we got so far.
That's the name of a cheesy pop band, One Direction.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Seth Franklin Rollins answers for his attack on Cody Rhodes. All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. We're going to answer questions over at Friendo Club TV a little bit later. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald here to tell you to go support Going In Raw on Friendo Club at patreon.com/Steven Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the week in wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.